Melaleuca CEO Frank Vandersloot has decided to put Melaleuca's premier product, the Peak Performance Pack, to the test, and he's willing to risk it all to make a point. For over 30 years, Melaleuca has used the best of science and nature to produce the world's most effective dietary supplements. The foundation of these powerful supplements began with a patented process called fructose compounding. Later, Melaleuca scientists expanded on that technology and developed a process called Oligo. Oligo uses a patented process to mimic how plants process minerals, combining them with fructose molecules and amino acids, thereby making minerals much more effective and useful to cells throughout the human body. Oligo protects antioxidant vitamins and curbs the impact that free radicals have on human health. Over the course of your life, every single second that you are alive, a barrage of microscopic free radicals hammer every cell of your body. Free radicals are tiny, but they are constant, and the bombardment of these trillions of tiny reactions eventually takes a toll on every cell in your body. And so we age. The impact of free radicals becomes more and more evident over time. Our skin wrinkles, our hair grays. We slow down. That's why Melaleuca scientists developed the Peak Performance Nutrition Pack, a full-spectrum supplement pack powered by Oligo technology. Since its introduction in 2014, 3 scientific human studies, the Freiberg study, the Sterling study, and the Deprivation study, have proven without any doubt that the Peak Performance Pack stops free radicals in their tracks. The findings of these 3 human studies are remarkable, but the real-life impact on people who have been using the Peak Performance Pack for years is even more convincing. For the past 4 years, countless stories of improved health have been pouring in. But perhaps the story closest to home is the personal experience of Melaleuca's CEO Frank Vandersloot, who has used Melaleuca Nutrition for more than 30 years, and the Peak Performance Pack since its introduction 4 years ago. By his own admission, Frank Vandersloot is not an athlete. He grew up on a small farm in northern Idaho. Manual labor on the farm may have helped him be a little stronger than most kids his age, but his only real experience in competitive sports was as a teenager, where he ran track for his rural high school in tiny Sandpoint, Idaho. Though he did letter in track, he was not the fastest in his school. He ran in the state track meet but didn't place. At 19, 51 years ago, he worked on the steel gang for the Northern Pacific Railroad for 3 months. He feels that time was probably the peak of his conditioning. But since then, he's held a cushy desk job. He tries to stay in shape by working out for 10 to 30 minutes 2 or 3 times a week. But often because of his heavy travel schedule, Frank goes for weeks without any physical activity to speak of. It would not seem plausible that Frank would ever believe that he could compete with world-class athletes that have been dedicated to working out and building their bodies for decades. But Frank believes he is aging less rapidly than these athletes, thanks to the free radical reducing power of the Peak Performance Pack. He has used Melaleuca Nutrition and the Peak Performance Pack for 30 years, and he believes that curbing free radicals has helped him to preserve his muscles better than even the most avid athletes at his age, and he is eager to put his theory to the test. Melaleuca's Chief Operating Officer Cole Klinger came up with a bizarre idea. Since Frank often works out on an indoor rower, he suggested that Frank challenge the world record holders in that sport. Not the annual record, not the American record, but the world record. In other words, the fastest anyone in his age group has ever rode in the history of the sport. Frank found Cole's challenge an interesting idea, and he accepted. A few years ago, Frank put a Concept 2 rower in his home for quick workouts. In the world of indoor rowing, Concept 2 is the gold standard rowing machine. Hundreds of thousands of them can be found in rowing clubs and CrossFit gyms around the world. Each machine connects to a massive worldwide database where each person who uses the machine can track his or her own progress. With appropriate verification, athletes can record and report their times to officials at Concept 2. Data is tracked by event, age group, and country. Athletes from around the world compete daily and submit their best times. Only the best submit their times, and then only their best times. The rowing season lasts from May 1st to April 30th of the next year, and the official results are tabulated and compared from year to year. But world records are few and far between. Each world record will stand until it is finally broken and a new record is set. There are annual records, country records, and world records for each event. A world record represents the fastest each event has been accomplished in the history of the sport. The data includes every country in the world and now goes back 16 years to 2002. Frank isn't seeking the U.S. record or an annual record. He is attempting to claim a world record. And the event he has identified as his first target is the 100-meter row. First with a slide rower, then with a stationary rower. The world record in that distance on the slide rower is held by Frank Bertina, who has been one of the world's most competitive rowers for the last 30 years. The world record in the 100-meter row on a stationary rower is Ernest Tuff, a monster of a man who has devoted his life to sport and is currently the reigning World Masters powerlifting champion in his age group. So why would Frank, an Idaho farm boy turned entrepreneur, think he would have a chance to compete against these two world-class athletes? Two reasons. First, because Melaleuca's chief operating officer, Cole Klinger, challenged him to do it. But more importantly, to prove that stopping free radicals by consistently using the Peak Performance Pack for years pays great dividends. The facts are clear. There's no way a non-athlete could take the world record away from two serious world-class athletes. And to make it even more challenging, Frank is going to attempt to break the record in Idaho Falls at 4,744 feet above sea level. Because of the higher oxygen levels at lower elevations, almost all world records have been made at close to sea level. A world record has never been made at 4,700 feet. Frank Bertina is from the Netherlands, which is actually below sea level. The current world record set by Frank Bertina for the 100-meter row with slides is 15.3 seconds. No one has ever come close to Bertina's record. And it's Bertina's record that Frank is going to try to break on August 14th. In a 100-meter sprint, every tenth of a second counts. Even if Frank is physically capable, only the slightest error and he'll botch the attempt. But if he's able to set a new world record, there will be no other explanation other than the Peak Performance Pack. Although he doesn't work out very often, because of the Peak Performance Pack, he benefits more from every workout. So tune in, join us on Tuesday, August 14th at 1 p.m. Mountain Time as Frank attempts this new world record on Facebook Live. If he succeeds, there will be one more piece of undeniable evidence that the Peak Performance Pack adds years to your life and life to your years.